thank you for tuning in to the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast, where co-hosts Matt Bucher and Marty Wheeler interview motocross and off-road racing and riding icons to capture their stories and experiences for you. So buckle up those helmets, grab a handful of throttle, and get ready to listen to the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is Season 2, Episode 6 of the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Bucher, joined by my co-host, Marty Wheeler, and our favorite audio-visual man, Mr. AJ Underwood. If you're watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We want to thank our show sponsor, Championship Power Sports. I think you guys have heard of them before.
Oh, yeah.
Located in Wasion, Ohio. Call Jim Durvage at 419-335-8600 and mention promo code Toledo Podcast to find your special discount. They have something set up for you, so give Jim a call out there. That's promo code Toledo Podcast. You can also check out their new gases on the showroom floor. I guess they're flying off the floor.
The Toledo Podcast promo help me get a new gas treat?
You got to call Jim, Marty.
I'm going to call Jim.
I'm
going to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go see him tomorrow.
Text me, see how that works out.
Right.
So let me know what that.
Say what kind of discount.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess the gases are flying off the shelves, so to speak. So that's good for them. Today, we are honored to be joined by a local professional motocross racer, born and raised right down the road in Liberty Center, Ohio. Welcome, Broc Peterson, to the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast. How you doing, Broc?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So this is your technically first podcast, right?
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yep.
So we have to share with the audience. So we had a little technical snafu the first time we tried Broc, and we're learning. We're amateurs here, so Marty's a professional. I'm just the just the amateur.
I'm not sure professional.
So no, it's good to have you back on, Broc, and certainly capture the stories that you have and learn more about you and all the great things that you've done in your career. So I want to start off kind of like last time. I want to start off with a story about Broc, because it was just my first interaction with him. I guess I've seen you watched you race out at Delta since you were a little guy, but we were at the Sandusky Valley Riders Fall Hare Scramble, and this was probably 2011, I guess 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And it was muddy, and it was nasty, and it was cold, and it was October, and it was, to me, that was just beautiful conditions to ride for 2 hours straight through the woods. And somebody come up to me in the pits and said, "Hey, Broc Peterson's here." Oh, okay, cool. I'm thinking, well, we'll see how he does in the woods. Well, I saw you on the starting line, and I don't think you had bark busters.
No.
So I thought, this is perfect. This is perfect. Kids got no bark busters. And Marty, it was a dead engine start. Okay. We take off. I get the whole shot. And out of my right ear, I hear this 4-stroke coming. And all of a sudden, like we were all just in first gear, here comes Broc at warp speed around the whole pack, around the outside of the first turn there at Sandusky Valley. And I was totally blown away, because I'm just not used to seeing that kind of raw speed on a track. I don't go on many motocross tracks anyway, but just the fact that you just were gone, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a long day. But I tell you what, that was one of the most fun times I've ever had racing. And you bested me at the end there, but we traded the lead, I don't know, probably numerous times.
Yep.
And that was just so much fun. I mean, we were just pushing each other, it was clean. We weren't hitting, nothing crazy like that. And it was just a fun time to be on a dirt bike. And I really enjoyed it. And, your speed was so much greater than mine was in the woods. I mean, you were, I probably had a little bit more on you in the woods, but it wasn't good enough to gap you like you did me in the motocross track.
Right.
I had somebody come up to me after the race like, "Why didn't you do that double in the back?" I'm like, I don't do doubles. I don't do doubles. Those days are over,
Right.
And but no, that was just a great time. And, what a fun, race that was. So I always remember that. And
I tried very hard to beat you that day. I remember that.
Yeah, you did, and you did.
I definitely wanted to beat you. I knew who you were, and
You did it.
that was my goal.
It was cool. That was a good time, and you've raced our Fallen Timbers harescramble back in. Well, you did it.
I think I've done every one.
Every one since we started.
Every one.
Okay.
I got hurt at one of them.
Right.
And then the other one was really, really muddy. And
The first one. First one.
The other one I got third in, I think. Second.
I think it was second. 2019.
Yep, I got second in.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Just think how great a rider he's going to be on a motocross track if he comes first in the harescrambles. You're first in the woods. You got to be a great motocross rider.
It makes a difference. I mean,
that's where all motocross riders start, is in the woods. You know that, right?
well, it helps you with turns,
yes.
right? You know,
everything.
I mean, so we had Jeff Stanton on a couple episodes ago, and he said, remember he told us, he said when he was in the heyday of his Supercross career, if something wasn't going right in his training, he would take off north and go up north and go trail ride for 3 days and then come back. You know, it's like, it's kind of interesting to hear that, because you don't hear that too much, and maybe it happens more so than, a lot of the old school guys, they don't share what they're doing throughout the week.
They don't want nobody knowing.
No, not at all.
Now.
Not at all. So let's kind of dive in, Broc, about how you kind of got started and from little guy to now as a grown man, and so how, when did you start riding? What did you start riding? Was a motocross or PW50, that type of thing? So fill in the audience about how you started.
My dad always had bikes, and of course I got one when I was 4. I've been on them since before that, though. Just other people's bikes, just hopping around, them picking me up as the baby. But 4 years old, I got PW50 and just motocross. It's been on since then. Just always got different bikes over the years, and that's where it started.
PW50, probably backyard.
Yep.
Right. Still at the same place.
Still the same place my dad lives.
Okay. Yep. So,
home track.
Yep. Home track. Still about the same. Just bigger jumps now.
Well, I remember you guys had to kind of divulge a little bit. You guys had the what was it, the Peterson Nationals or something like that? Back in probably the late 90s, maybe.
I feel like the last one was like 98.
Was it?
Something like that. 97, 98 was like the last one we had.
Right.
I think he had it for like 5 years, maybe.
And if I remember,
maybe longer, I'm not sure.
And if I remember, right, the classes were based on the different size of your fortitude, right?
Yes.
We'll keep it clean. That was what I remember.
Pretty funny name.
Oh, it was great. It was like, I was like, what class? Just stuck out to me. That was a fun track. It was. I think that was a fall thing. It was like one time a year?
Yep, one time a year, and just all his buddies, and it just kept getting bigger every year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was fun. And I remember Radar, your neighbor.
Yep.
Went over the abyss and down into the the abyss down in the creek there.
Yeah, and it's a deep one.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, these ditches out here in Fulton County, Henry County are not, they're no joke.
Yeah, they're about 10 feet deep, and he was all the way at the bottom.
I think I rode by and I'm looking down, and it was like an RMX or something. I seen a Suzuki in the weeds there. It's like, how did you get down there, Radar? But anyway, so you start off, you're riding your PW50. At what age was that again?
4.
4. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you had a pretty traditional path of starting young and type of thing. So when did you start racing?
I don't know if it was that year I started racing or not, but for as long as I can remember, since I know it was that same PW I was racing on, and I just raced since then.
Okay. Did you start at Delta like the rest of us did?
Yeah, started at Delta and just slowly started venturing off to other tracks and stuff, and yep.
So you started at Delta, and what was your first? You remember your first race?
No. Nope.
You don't remember your first race?
I think we have it on VHS. So
what the heck's a VHS, right?
What's a VHS? Yes, I feel like it's on VHS. I'll have to maybe dig through it and find it.
Do they even make those machines anymore?
I'll find the footage and give it to you guys.
We're gonna have to Wikipedia that. Yeah.
We're gonna do that.
Yeah. We're gonna have to Google that.
DHF.
You're
So
probably surprised I even know what that is.
he was just racing. He was riding so fast just at his home track and all that kind of stuff. That when he went to race, it was just the same. So he didn't even. It was nothing special.
He didn't even remember it.
Yeah,
It was just like it was a blur.
just like home of
Yeah.
practice. Just home of practice.
Yep.
No, that's funny. And so you're kind of progressing through that. You're getting hooked, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're getting into the into the mindset of racing and stuff. And so where did you said you kind of branched off from there, but where did you branch off to? Did you go to Log Road, or was it District 14 stuff, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question for my dad. it's
Call him up. Get him on the phone.
every track was just
Where's the lifeline?
it was just I didn't pay attention to where we were, but Log Road, yeah, definitely. Milan, we went to Milan too.
Yep.
But then we started doing just the AMA stuff and started chasing Loretta Lynn stuff when I was, I think, 96 or something like that. So a couple years racing just locally home.
Okay.
We started going to just bigger races slowly. Yeah. So,
And do you think that was an effective method, like to kind of just keep taking your stair step?
I mean, everybody does it different, but
Yeah.
just having the track at my house helped out a lot, where other people don't have that. So I mean, I always had the advantage to ride during the week,
Right.
or whenever I wanted to, where other people don't have that opportunity so they have to go travel every weekend. So that makes it easier.
Well, I remember Greg Dervaj, he was saying he really didn't do much throughout the week. When he was younger, he, just basically raced, the weekends. And it does make a difference,
It does,
Yeah, for sure. So did you, so you mentioned Loretta's, what was your first year you qualified?
97.
97. You were how old then?
I would have been 7.
7. Okay. Okay. So you make it, did you win?
No.
Okay.
I think Tyler Bowers won that year.
But you went to Loretta's. So.
I went to Loretta's.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. That's what I
Yep,
mean.
went to
You
Loretta's,
Qualified.
You qualified.
Yep,
You went.
for it.
You actually, because some people qualify and they don't end up going. Is
Right,
that correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And, so
What's your first experience? Do you at 7? I'm assuming probably no, but do you understand the magnitude? I've been there to race at GNCC, but I never spectated for the National Motocross Championships there. But what's your feeling going into the gate? Is it just like you can't believe it? Do you have any recall of that?
I don't remember racing at all down there when I was young. All
Okay.
I remember is playing in the creek down there. that's about
Going to
it.
Loretta's again, but that creek is a place to ride.
I just remember playing down there. Honestly, I don't remember racing or nothing down there. So that was just, yeah.
Now that's a casual rider.
Yeah.
He's just laid back.
Yeah.
We're down at Loretta's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
What
my
are you doing?
friends-
We're building a dam in the creek.
Yeah, after I smoke you.
And we're going to race a little bit.
That's pretty much how it was after. I mean, we just all, it was just a fun time.
Yeah.
Besides the racing was just a bonus, I guess.
Right.
But
It was a byproduct of
Yeah.
playing in a creek water.
right.
Yeah.
It was just it's a great place down there. So the racing, I don't remember that.
That's interesting because I kind of thinking back to my younger day too. I remember playing at Milan.
Yeah.
Playing in the dirt, taking your monster trucks and building tracks and
Yeah.
little just kid stuff.
Yep.
And that's like you said, kind of like, oh, I got to go ride again. And you'd go do it and come back and play again.
Right.
Yeah, that's fun. So how did you do your first one?
I think I got 8th.
8th.
And yep.
That's
I
awesome.
finished 8th overall.
Yeah. So you're doing Loretta's, and how many did you do as a youngster? How many have you done total?
Man, I don't know. 7, 8 of them.
Have you?
9 of them, somewhere around there. A lot of years I should have made it, but didn't. It just happens.
Right.
Yeah, quite a few of them.
Has anybody done as many as you have around here?
I would say, I'm sure Greg's up there.
You think?
Yeah, he might have more than me. I'm not sure how many he has, but probably close, me and him.
Yeah.
And then it's probably about it.
Well, so you're going through the Loretta things, and you're still racing and stuff, but you're doing. I mean, you're into other sports too, right? I mean, did you do some sports in school?
Yeah, I tried football for a while.
Did you?
And took away from racing, so kind of quit that. Still racing in the fall / end of summer, you know, so
Right.
quit with that. But I did wrestle throughout high school and middle school and stuff.
Yeah.
And but yeah, wrestling and racing, that was it.
Perfect.
So when's the last time you went to Loretta's?
I went this year.
This year. This last year.
Yep, this past summer.
So my question there was, do you remember racing?
Oh, I remember that one.
Okay,
And,
all right.
Yeah.
And he played in the creek.
And you played in the creek too.
With my kids, actually.
With
my kids.
There you go.
Just throw 'em in.
Checking, see if you ever
We were building
remember
the dam,
racing
yes.
at Loretta's.
Is that the creek you mentioned? Is that the famous kind of, you know, you see videos and, you know, things like people are jumping, like are they jumping into the creek?
Yep,
Is that what they're
that's
doing?
right there, yep.
Okay.
Which that's kind of blocked off now, but the kids still find a way to get up there and jump in.
Okay.
So
Typical. You
Yeah.
know, they got to ruin all the fun.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's got to stop you from
I've jumped off
some,
that cliff a few times.
some
yeah.
kind of safety hazard, you know?
Yep.
My gosh. One kid breaks their leg and they got to shut it down. you
Yep.
know?
So after 20 years of going to Loretta's, he remembers one time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a pretty good score.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So how'd you do?
The one class I wanted to do good in, not too good. I ended up like 14th overall. That was the 30+ class. I was really hoping to go win that one. And I DNF'd the first moto, and then 8th the second moto, I think. I crashed that one too. And then the last moto, I finally did good. I got 3rd.
Okay.
And then the 25+ class, I actually got 6th overall, which I was happy with that.
You weren't expecting that.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was happy with that. 6th
Okay.
I was good with, but in the 25+ class.
Was there any heavy hitters in those classes that the audience might recognize the names?
What's his name? I'm drawing a blank right now. Jesse Wentland,
Okay.
and then Brandon Schroyer.
Yep. Heard
Them
those
two.
names.
Yep, they're
Okay.
pretty good. They're pretty good outdoor guys in the 450 class. So
you gotta-
they got 1st and 2nd in the 25+ class.
Was it real muddy?
Like I say, wasn't the weather?
No,
Yeah, it was-
No, it wasn't.
I had really good weather. It was for my motos. It does rain during the week when I just got lucky and didn't have any mud motos.
Okay.
But so my races are all good.
Was it a different vibe because of the COVID situation? I mean, you're trying to follow it on TV and stuff, but
No, it was really good down there actually. Like, and the towers that we got to like spectate in,
Mhm.
Monster Energy put on towers for everybody to spectate. Those you had to have your masks on, and then whenever you're close to somebody, strangers, whatever, you're supposed to social distance, but we're motocrossers, so
right.
it was kind of hard to do that with everybody following those guidelines. It was pretty normal.
Yeah.
Playing down there in the creek, so who knows what was in the creek?
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
That washes it out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
the COVID probably has nothing
Yeah.
compared to that creek water.
Yeah.
So no, it was pretty normal down there, and it was good. It was
Yeah.
a good vacation.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, speaking of COVID, I mean, you don't hear either it's completely like nilled outside, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't hear much of anything from anybody about, oh, I got COVID at the motocross track. You know what I mean? You don't hear much of that.
No.
I mean, you guys didn't, Marty, at MX Express. You didn't have any issues. Most people were good about that. So I mean, you don't hear anything from the AMA.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
So I think
There's
yeah.
a couple of guys in Supercross right now that they are testing positive, but it's only been like 1 or 2 guys that I know of.
Right.
And yeah, so it's been pretty mellow there in Supercross too.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's clearly the masks are working, and social. It's not to I go down this road, but the flu. Nobody's getting the flu.
What?
Yeah, there is no flu right now. It's like
Right now, yeah.
everybody's doing the right stuff for one thing, and it's protecting us against another.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's a good thing. So speaking of Supercross, did you ever entertain the idea of trying that?
I did arena cross for a little bit.
Okay.
And,
Some jerseys over hanging on the wall.
yeah, Marty.
Those
helped me out.
the orange ones?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marty helped me out for a few years.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did,
2 years
did
I
some-
did it or something like that.
Yeah, we did some Supercross. It was cool.
Arena-
I was a little scared for him.
Yeah. Just cover your eyes.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
that's a whole different ball game. I
It-
mean, it's and it's in this room. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tiny little track.
Yeah.
it's a little track, but
Yeah.
great riders. I'm going to tell you, I just don't know how they ever got around that track and didn't crash. But
I took my fair share of crashes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing bad, nothing crazy.
Did you have to do a lot of setup change for that? Because you can't just go practice that. I mean, your track out back is not an arena cross track.
The hardest part, like the jumps were no big deal for me at all. I'm pretty good at just naturally judging the jumps and doing that stuff. The biggest thing were the whoops, and that's just commitment, and I have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Well, only because the whoops were taller than him.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
They were too.
You know, where did Broc go? He's down there in that third whoop
Yeah,
somewhere.
I struggle with the whoops. That
And
was the
they
thing.
were monstrous.
Yep.
I mean, we walked the track, and you just walk over and you drop down. And you're like, oh my god.
Well, it's easy. You see it on TV. It's got to
It
be
is
easy,
It's just
right?
commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, just twist the
I've never
throttle.
learned it though. So
Well, it's not something you're doing all the time, right? I mean, where can you go to practice
it's
that? You
just
can't.
down south.
Yeah.
The training facilities they have.
Yeah, for practice, we don't put whoops in.
No.
I mean, because that's just a recipe for disaster.
Disaster.
For employee, for riders to come out and crash. So we have some rollers, but they're pretty normal rollers.
Well, they're
I was gonna see you were talking about going all those places, and when I have seen you and your family, going to all, and even before you were married, I always remember you and your dad was always right there, right by your side. So, it's your dad, I'm assuming had a big influence on getting you where you needed to go, and hopefully kicked you in the butt every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
But I like I say, even today, you show up over to the track and, and doing a little practice, a few laps of practice wise, your dad usually shows up. So he's not very far behind. Now I think he comes for the grandkids, so I'm not quite sure he comes for you as much anymore.
Oh yeah.
But,
He don't care about me anymore.
yeah.
He just comes for the kids.
And well, I can shout out to your kids. I've got my little leaf that one of them gave me, or a couple of them gave me the one day we were doing something. They brought me over and gave me a great little gift.
up on the cabinet there.
It's
Okay.
it's turned a little brown now. It was very green for a very long time, but yeah, they come take care of me too. I always say hi. So now you've got 2 kids.
Yep. 2 daughters.
Two daughters, and your wife that always come to the thing. So, but then you also do have some, I don't know what you want to call them, groupies that go with you too.
Yeah. Mike Turry. Richie Shorn.
So what does he do? What's Mike do?
Just makes fun of me.
I know he's there. I know your dad does all the bike work and cleans it and does all the work, but it's like, what's Mike do?
He just drives me to the track and
Just
feeds me,
feeds you.
cooks. Yep.
And then, of course, you got Rich. He decals your bike all up and makes it look all real pretty and everything. So, of course, he's going to probably be a little less going with you for a little bit now for the spring, since he just had a new baby. So
I saw that. Yeah, on Facebook.
Shout out to, was it William? I can't remember what it was. It's William.
I know it's William.
Yeah.
William
Shehorn.
William Shehorn. That's right. It was at Grandpa's. I think it was named after Grandpa's. I think that's what it was. So give a shout out to Reggie. So I know they're out there giving you a hand. I know
they help me out
a lot of times. I'll chat with you on the road sometimes, and you and Mike are cutting up and causing problems.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, didn't you guys just went south somewhere? Did I see on Facebook?
We actually drug Richie out of the house, and me, Richie, and Mike went down to Alabama for a weekend.
Okay.
And that was fun.
Where'd you go?
We went to Monster Mountain.
Okay.
And it's a great track. So
that's Alabama.
Yep.
Okay. KTM World, that's Georgia, right? I think it is.
I'm not sure.
I've ridden there.
All right.
I think it was at KTM World. I think that's what they call it. There's a dealership there, right in the park. I mean, it's just like a dream place.
Yeah.
You can ride, you can trail ride, do whatever. And they got
You're in Durham Town, are you?
No, not Durham
Right.
Town. No, it was, I think, North Georgia.
All right.
I've been to Durham Town a couple times, but so Monster Mountain, I'm assuming motocross
It's
tracks.
strictly motocross, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They got like a GP track, which is a track with no jumps. And then the motocross.
That's
track.
right up my alley. No
Yeah.
jumps.
It's a fun track.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just go putting around.
Yep.
And PW50, it works really good for me.
I used to like to jump. The whole fear of hitting the ground is just really.
I know exactly what you mean. Mike has to bribe me to do some jumps at the races we go to nowadays.
He bribes you.
Yeah, I'm like, Mike, I don't want to jump it. Him and my dad
There's some
both were like,
cookies and milk back
Yep.
in the trailer.
I'm like, I don't want to jump the
You
thing
do one of these,
anymore.
like, oh gosh,
Yep.
got it. Now I'm like he's calling me out. I got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of heights, so in the desert you have to worry. There's not a lot to jump.
No.
And if you do, you cleared the ground by a foot or two, and you're like, yeah. So that's my jumping. So
You stay low to the ground.
low to the
Yeah,
ground,
like they said McGrath
it
did.
doesn't hurt as bad when you crash.
No.
It still hurts, but it doesn't hurt as bad. So you've got, like I said, we were talking about, you're traveling wise. You're talking about going down south riding. How does the tracks compare down south to up here?
I'm just so used to whatever, but like
They sandy or they clay?
a
Or,
little bit of both. Like the Alabama one, I went a few years ago and it was more hard pack. They're bringing in sand. All the motocross tracks are starting to do sandy, or they're trying to get everything sandy.
break up that clay.
Yep,
Because what is there? Is it Georgia that's the red clay
Yes.
that doesn't ever come off?
Why
And
are they?
then you
Why are they? What's the theory about that? Just for maintenance purpose?
I think it's easier to work the track.
Okay.
The tracks
Break less.
get rougher. I don't know if that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
I think it's just easier to work too, and
Yeah.
easier to water, because when you're at the hard pack,
It just
it's-
runs,
you-
pools.
You water it, but it gets like
slimy.
it gets slimy and
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's almost better to be dusty, but then you can't see. Where the sandier tracks, you can water it down. It takes the water when it rains. So
I
I
remember.
can race pretty good on dusty tracks because most of the time when I'm riding the bike, I got my eyes closed anyway. So I can do pretty well.
Well,
Yep.
I tell you what, in all the years that I've raced and ridden, I can't stand riding in the dust. It scares the snot out of me.
yeah, I would rather have it muddy,
Muddy.
and slippery.
Give me the
Yep.
mud. Yep. At least you
I
can see
know-
where you're going.
Yeah, I know I'm going to hit that person.
Yes.
Where it's dusty, you can't even see them.
No,
Well, that,
absolutely.
it doesn't. You never let up that way. You
Yeah,
just keep her pinned.
I've raced a couple scary races where it's been dusty.
Outdoor
Yeah,
nationals.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what year did you start qualifying for the national motocross and that kind of thing?
I think I got my license in 13 or 2012 or something like that,
Okay.
and took me a while to make them, but
Yeah, because you were telling us the podcast 1.0 that you and was it you and Greg were like a spot off?
it was-
He made it in, or you
it was
didn't?
actually
Or,
the very first one we both tried.
Okay.
At Redbud, and he made it in. I think he qualified in the 20s, and I was 0.000 seconds away from making it.
oh
in.
my gosh!
And I ended up not. I don't think they had last chance qualifiers then. Forget, but yeah, I didn't make it in that day, and it was like, all right, well, next one I'll get closer, and I knew Redbud, so it was definitely easy, and I was far off in the next few ones. So
Really?
yeah, took me a while to get the hang of it.
Was that kind of deflating to you? But I mean, you didn't give up, right?
I never
mean,
gave up.
Yeah,
Yes and no.
yeah.
It was fun doing it, trying it, and finally got the hang of it. A
What
little bit.
when you started doing them, what surprised you? Was it the speed of others, or anything like that?
I mean, in practice, or even one of the ones I did make, with if I made one, I got to be in the good practice with like Tomac and
Mhm.
Dungy and stuff, and just their raw speed. Like I knew I was fast, but they made me feel slow. Like,
really?
they're that much faster than me, and yeah, that's what surprised me the most.
And Redbud, Redbud's a track that everybody's got to try it once. I've even been around Redbud a couple of times, didn't do much, but it's a huge track. It's just the elevation changes, the whole outlay of Redbud is one of those things that if nothing else, if you're you can get in the D riders class or whatever to
Right.
go out and ride it. But I mean, it is still awesome, even if you're not really a really big competitor to ride it and say, I've been at Redbud and I've gone around the track.
Tell you what, that's just about any national track. If you get a chance to ride any of them, they're all amazing. They really are.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was your favorite track?
Probably Millville or Indiana before they switched it up. Indiana switched it up quite a bit.
Crawfordsville, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
Crawfordsville.
They added a lot of sand, didn't they?
Well, they switched the layout up
Oh,
from when
okay.
the first few years I did it, and that was a really good layout. And then Millville's excellent. That's an awesome track.
Millville, Minnesota.
Yep, that's
Yep.
probably my favorite track.
Is it pretty sandy there, right?
It's sandy, and when you're talking about elevation change at Redbud's flat.
Mm-hmm.
Redbud's flat compared to
Wow.
Millville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. You're on the side of a mountain. For the most, half the track is on the side of a mountain,
Nice.
and it's steep.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we jump back, we're going to take a little commercial break here, and then we're going to continue with talking with Mr. Broc Peterson. We want to thank Championship Power Sports for sponsoring this episode.
They carry Honda, KTM, Husqvarna, Beta, and now the newest on the market, Gas.
Marty, how do you find them?
Gotta call Jim at 419-335-8600 and mention promo code Toledo Podcast for your special discount.
We're back with Mr. Broc Peterson. Thanks for tuning in to the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast, and we're going to continue with Mr. Peterson here. So Millville's your favorite track.
Yep.
It's hilly. You're on the side of a mountain. How well did you do there?
I don't know. I qualified. That's about when I would qualify. I'd roughly around 30th is what I'd finish overall.
That just boggles my mind. I mean, it's like I said, I've seen your speed, from behind you, and like you said, just to see that your speed compared, but it's like every corner, right? Every corner, it's just a tenth of a second off.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. So, what's the one thing that kind of surprised you when you got to you said the raw speed. I'm sorry, I'm asking you twice, but is there anything else that kind of surprised you when you got to the Nationals? Was there anything that kind of, looking back, like I can't believe we're doing it this way, or saw that, or?
I mean, everything was it was different from the amateur stuff, I guess. Just all of it was just different, It's nothing really stood out to me though. Like the raw speed, that was the only thing that really stood out to me. That was crazy. Like,
yeah,
man, why can't I do that?
Right.
So, is it as fun to race the pro stuff as was the amateur, or amateur as fun as racing the pros?
The last few years, like the amateur stuff, I look for money races, so that's a lot of fun when I can go to the money races and do good.
Hey, you've robbed us a couple of times.
Yeah, so that's fun, but then it's also fun to race the pros,
Right.
And then have all the guys back at home watching me on TV, or all right, not watching me, but watching my name scroll at the top of the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, we've yelled at you quite a few times.
Yeah, they can see my name at the top of the screen, which that's cool. Like, that's exciting for me.
And as Dungy went by and those going by, we did see a few times.
You're right. You can see me getting lapped.
Did you ever, just thinking about that, I mean, did you ever try to latch onto them guys? Was it a practice?
That's with the raw speed. Like,
Yeah.
I tried, but then I lost them right away.
Yeah.
I was like, man, where'd they go? It's just one corner they were gone.
Yeah. That's just,
yeah.
Well, it's like that in the woods. You go to a national enduro,
Same thing.
there's no qualifying. Everybody races together.
Right.
So back when, when I was a young guy, I might have been on Mike Lafferty's minute, or, Jason Raines, or, David Likey, or all these big names. And it's like literally 2 turns, gone. I mean, it's like, how in the Sam hell are they going that fast in the woods?
Like, you felt fast.
Yeah, you felt fast. I guess
until they came around.
Yes.
It's like, man.
Or I remember one year in Daytona, Lafferty's like, I don't know, started like several minutes behind you.
Yeah.
And you can hear that 450 just, I mean,
Yep.
It's like, how can you even see through the palmettos that quick? Your
Right.
reaction time, it is amazing.
Just following the dirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just amazing. Was there anything like personality wise when you got to the pro level, like, hey, that, I used to race against that guy, but now he's kind of made it a little bit. Now he's a real jerk, or anything, you don't have to call anybody out. If you want to, it'd be great, because it'd be great for the podcast, but
Well, Broc, when he hit that pro side, hard to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
He had his little entourage, 16, 17 guys.
You could only get an autograph from him?
Couldn't get an autograph.
You couldn't get an autograph?
No,
Oh, my God.
He just kept on going.
I doubt that. I doubt that very much.
I got his autograph over there.
Now the one guy that stands out is Phil Nicoletti.
Okay.
He was nothing special growing up, and I still don't think he's anything that crazy special. but yeah, he was better than everybody else, and we got into it the one time, and I know a lot of people got into it with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was just a hothead and just yeah.
Like tangle on the track or
Like,
tangle off the track or
yeah, off the track. He
Oh,
was
really?
yelling at me, and if I was in your way, you should have passed me.
right,
So
right,
his
right.
fault.
Did you have to throw some wrestling moves on him?
I wasn't like Vince Freeze.
No. That guy, man.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, but sometimes it looks. I mean, it's like, is he just at the wrong place at the wrong time?
I think so.
Or is he like intentionally going, I'm going to just totally punt this guy off the
I
track?
think he's just at the wrong place, wrong time. And he doesn't, you can definitely hear the bikes behind you.
Yeah.
And he's not listening for that. Like that is him being dumb.
Yeah.
I feel like he should be more aware of his surroundings.
Yeah.
But
I'm thinking like Q-Tip should sponsor him
right.
and get him some free
Yeah.
freaking Q-Tips.
Right.
I mean, come on, dude. You got to, I mean.
Or hearing aids.
Yeah, or hearing aids.
Hearing
Yeah,
aids,
bell
man.
tone. Vince
no.
Freeze, this is bell tone. No, I can't quite figure that out.
Most of the racers, they're all cool. They all on the day of, they're all staying to their
In
own.
their zone.
Yeah, they're all staying to their. Nobody really talks like the top guys. Nobody's really talking to anybody.
Yeah.
And but the day before, you see them all joking around, and you can
Walking around through the
yeah,
pits.
walking around. They all talk, whatever and
Right. It's
Yeah.
a little more chilled out.
yeah, they're all cool to whoever for the most part.
Do they play head games?
I never seen any personally, but I did see Cooper Webb playing some head games in Supercross. They were showing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ken Roxon, he wrote down red plate with Ken Roxon having the red plate. So I never seen anything personally.
Well, it's kind of interesting. You remember Stumpy?
No.
No, he was big out at Delta volunteering and
yeah,
stuff.
I know
Stumpy.
the name.
Yeah. And I remember him telling a story about, guys like out at Delta, when they had the pro races, they would mess with some of the local guys, say, oh, your chain looks a little loose, your sprocket's missing a tooth or something, your brake pads don't, So I just wondered if you saw any of that kind of thing.
Never really seen anything.
Well, them guys probably don't have to, right? I mean, they know
Their stuff's good to go.
they're ready.
Yeah.
They don't have to mess with anybody. So looking back, you mentioned Tomac, but was there a guy on the track that you just were just in awe of? Like, I can't believe, was it a Stewart? Did you ever line up with Stewart?
I think I did a few times outdoors.
Did you?
Yeah. Both of them, actually. Well, I raced Malcolm a few times, amateur stuff.
Okay.
And, yeah. I mean, just all the top guys.
Yeah.
They're all equally. I mean, any one of them could win.
At any time?
Any time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you had the guys that would win most of the time, but they're all just them top 10 guys. Yeah, it's insane.
It's just a mistake that changes up the positions most of the time.
Yeah.
One little teeny hair of a mistake and they lose
Yep.
2 or 3 positions, or they get a good corner and
Yeah.
they're leading the pack.
Yep.
So yeah, it's amazing. Of course, we're gonna have Steve Hatch on here and his wife here in a couple weeks or so here. Steve and his wife now. Steve's, he's doing the instruction, he's doing the coaching, and his wife is doing the nutrition, the mind, the body stuff. So these guys. It's not like the old guys in the old days where they piled in the back of a van and went to the pro race. Now they've got they're eating exactly right. They're exercising. Yep. They're doing it 7 days a week. So
that's their job.
And that's their job.
Yep.
So it's a lot more intense than it used to be.
Yep.
I always kind of felt bad for some of them guys. I mean, the guys that are, riding around that, 10 to 15th place, because there is an astronomical gap between top 5, right, and then 5 through 10, and then 10 through 15 as far as pay, and it's a shame to me because it's kind of like they're working just as hard,
because they're on. A lot of those guys are on teams, but they're not really getting endorsements or nothing like that,
right?
But they're more like a regular 9-to-5 job,
right?
Pay,
right?
Maybe 100,000, maybe 200,000,
right?
But yeah, they're working their butts off for a dangerous sport,
right?
And it's hard to get in that top 10.
Yeah, it is, and then they're not. and then it's like, what do you do when you're done? Right. I mean you
yeah.
know, that's the, cause this is obviously a young man's sport,
Right.
Reed and Wyndham, they're kind of the odd ducks out of
Right,
out of the
yeah.
group, but, I mean, you kind of, I just wish there was more money for those guys or more incentive, for the,
Yeah, I mean that goes all the way back to. I mean, I don't feel like when you're putting on a pro race, you're putting on the event, so you shouldn't have to pay. Where they make us pay still,
right.
and it's like we shouldn't be paying to race to put on the event.
Right.
So
Right.
That's kind of goofy there.
We usually charge our pro guys double.
Do you? Yeah.
That
Yeah,
way.
but you pay back triple. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is an interesting dynamic with the
I mean, it's definitely motocross has definitely grown
right,
big time. So,
but the scale is way off. I mean,
From other pro
for
sports?
the payout,
yeah.
yeah, the scale. I mean, because you figure football,
I mean,
all 11 guys. I mean, there's some that are getting better endorsement deals,
Yeah.
right? But they're all making,
just to be on the benches,
yeah,
making more than most of the top motocrossers.
yeah. I'd be a water boy any day
Yeah.
of the week,
Yep, sign me up.
It's you always think about throw NASCAR in there. You got NASCAR and you got motocross, and the unfortunate part about the motocross side of life, the advertisement's not there.
Right.
Not too many people can catch what your bike says as that you're 35
Yes.
a year and you go and buy me so fast. Whereas they're focusing on a car and a hood is a good 4x4,
Right.
and here's M&Ms or whoever, and so that's who's writing these checks to these guys, and that's
Yep.
the unfortunate part. There's no ad space on your jersey much that you're going to be able to get out there and somebody can actually zoom in on you and see,
Right.
unless you're running one of the major motocross, one of the motorcycles that they know you're the Honda or the KTM rider or whatever. But that's the unfortunate part, that there just hasn't been that money to come in there and advertise.
When they say NASCAR is way down, the spectatorship, and I think a lot of that is, in my opinion, an assessment is they get involved, they start talking politics. It's like just stay out of that stuff and leave that alone, because you're just going to rile one side up or the other, and then they're going, what I mean, and then they're going to say the heck with it. I'm not going to watch. It's like, so hopefully people at the AMA and Supercross, they kind of just better off to just don't even say anything about it. Just do what you're doing, But I agree. I think the scale is way off, for amateurs, or professional amateurs, if you will, to be able to make a living at it,
Right.
But I guess that's how it goes. It's always how it's been,
Yeah.
and until there's some, like you said, some marketability, greater access to it. I don't know if that's ever going to change, but
Because you can see back to the car side of life. I can go to Oakshade over here and make some pretty good money.
yeah,
Not only racing and winning, but the advertising side of life.
right,
Because you got your car. So, amateurish, they're not pro by no means, over there, but yet they can make some good money if you decided to do that on a very regular basis. I knew there was a couple brothers back in Pennsylvania that was running some modified stuff, and, they did well. I mean, they had a business, but they did well in racing because, they were good, they were fast, they had some great advertising people, and there was money at it, so. It's one of those things where that's not the same as, it's not the same as going to a local track.
right.
I don't know, what you bring, what does first place usually bring you in a local race? 800?
I mean, a local race for a money race. Yeah, 800. If it's a money race,
800 to 1,000.
But I mean, a regular non-money race for an amateur race is, you're making your money back, which is still fun. I mean,
Right.
But,
You break even at the end of
break
the day.
even, that's my goal.
So, but that doesn't buy you a new bike.
No.
That's
just paying for the parts.
You say it pays for the parts.
Yeah.
It pays you a little bit of gas to get there. So whereas like you say, I've sponsored some cars over the time, over the years and stuff too. And those guys, it'd be nothing for a couple of guys I know, that bring $2,000-$3,000 home on a Friday or Saturday night at the local dirt track.
Right.
That's some good money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cars may cost a little bit more than a bike, but the way bike prices are going these days, I'm not quite sure that it's going to cost you that much more.
They're not that far off.
Yeah.
My wife's cousins, I should say, they're big into the Outlaws.
Yeah.
down in Kansas, and they're actually, I mean, they race at the Chili Bowl. I'm sure you guys have heard of that, all that. I mean, they're on, kind of been on TV, and they got their own team and stuff. And he told me they came up for a wedding in the family years ago, and they said on the way home they were stopping in Indianapolis somewhere at a race shop to pick up a $30,000 motor for one of the cars. Just the motor.
Yep.
But like he said, if they get into the program, they're making money every night. And he said about the end of the year they're basically breaking even. So if you're spending some, you can get some back, and if you're breaking even, that's about all you could really ask for, I guess. So, but you're now current Broc. You're married, got a full-time job, you're racing here and there. I'm going to put on the podcast on the YouTube channel, but I was snooping around on your Facebook page, face creep, I think they call it, face creeping. And there's a really cool photo of you and your fiance at the time, your wife now, but you're doing a nose wheelie.
Yeah.
And pretend like you're going to kiss her or something like that. That was really cool. How did you stage that?
She actually found the photo. She wanted to do it, and it took us a few shoots.
I was gonna say, how many times did you take? And,
well, I'm not.
And who ended up with injuries?
I'm not very good with nose wheelies or wheelies in general.
It looked good.
And, it just took a lot of times, a lot of practice.
This is a photographer. Like, come on, let's get this. Let's get this shot.
My dad was out there watching too while we're taking photos, and he's like, "Don't make me get on there and show you how to do it." So
no, it was cool. It just a cool.
It was a
cool
fun
thing.
It was a fun shoot. It was funny.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if my wife would have done that. I don't know.
It was her idea.
Yeah, that's really cool.
My wife would never get in front of my bike. I can tell you right now.
No.
Well, she kind of stood off to the side a little bit, and the picture made it look like it was head on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But still, I mean, things could go wrong.
Oh,
yeah.
Especially with me.
Did you imagine walking down the aisle and here she comes with a broken arm, broken nose, and like, I love you, honey, but you got ran over by a 450.
That was your idea. That was your idea.
It was a first turn, it was just an accident. But go ahead? No,
talk about fun things. What's the biggest jump you ever did? Now I know that around here there's a big jump.
Just probably Loracco's Leap.
That's the biggest you ever done.
Yeah, I mean.
All the spokes still intact.
Yeah,
everything.
I never had any big mishaps on it. Just every time I just prayed. I definitely don't like that jump.
Fourth gear?
Third gear on a 450.
And third gear on a 450.
And Crawfordsville, Indiana had one similar to it.
A step up, isn't it?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And that one was probably just as long. I think easier because it was a little more forgiving. But yeah, those are probably the two biggest ones I've done.
So out back of Red Bud, there's a uphill double in there.
Yeah,
but that's pretty little.
Is it? It shoots you up high. It's a
good.
It's a good crowd pleaser.
It's right before a right-hander, isn't it? You kind of left-hander.
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 Used to be a right-hander at one point.
Okay.
And
knock it over here. Because you come over that, and then you come back around, come back downhill.
Yep, right? That one's just it's an easy jump, but it does shoot you up pretty high. That one's actually really fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the first time I saw Loracco's. I almost said Loretta's Leap. That's the creek you jump in. It's you just can't fathom it. I mean, when was the first time? Because you did it on a 450, right? Not a 250.
Yeah, I did it on a 450.
450.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. When your first experience with that, was it like? How do you build up to that? I mean, you're used to jumping, right? You're a motocrosser,
yeah.
But
it was actually at a regional for Loretta Lynn's, I think 2012 maybe. And Joey Savacci was there at Red Bud, and we were in the same class. And there's a couple of us. I was probably back in like 5th or 6th, and they were all doing it. So I had to do it, just to be competitive with them.
Right.
And so I just tagged along with everybody else that was doing it, and
yeah,
I had to do it.
So you matched their speed.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I knew it was more just getting the courage up.
Right.
I knew how to do it.
Right.
I've talked to a lot of older guys that have done it.
Packed your parachute.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yep. They just said third gear wide open, don't let off. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, it was easy. It's an easy jump because it's just third gear wide open.
Right.
But
like
scary.
you can't back off at all. I mean, you can't think about it. You just gotta go.
Yep.
Yep.
I'd rather overjump it.
Right. Right.
Well, I saw Ricky Carmichael just take all the spokes out of his wheels.
Yeah.
He come down and just just shredded that wheels there. It's like, wow.
I know a lot of people that have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. Well, I think Mike LaRocco, I was watching a video on YouTube, and I think he did it like on a 125 or some insane thing.
It's different now.
Yeah.
With it, because I know James Stewart and them guys, they used to do it on 125. There's absolutely no way even come close to doing it on 125. Now, yeah, it's just so much sand here. They've added a bunch of sand in.
Okay. Because they changed the turn.
They've changed the turn.
Yeah.
So, quite a few times they've changed it.
Okay.
And, yeah, 250Fs, there's a few of them doing it this year, which I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah.
But.
Maybe a little bit of motor work.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of motor work.
A lot of motor work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the one kid that was doing it, he's super little, too, so that helps. Being light. But.
What's your favorite bike of all time? Because you're a Honda guy.
I'm a Honda guy.
Yeah.
And the one I'm on now. I mean, every time I get a new bike, that's my favorite bike. It's just they get so much better, and it's amazing. So I got a 2020 Honda 450.
Nice.
And yeah, it's awesome.
So what's your plans for 21 here?
I'm gonna go try and redeem myself at Loretta's.
Okay.
And win that 30+ class. So that's the goal for this year.
You'll do it. You'll win.
So you get a brand new bike. What do you end up doing to it?
First thing I do.
Where do you get it from? Let's start with that.
I get it from Championship Power Sports.
Okay.
There you go.
Best place around. Only place around.
Only place around.
Only place
yes,
around.
I gotta say that's the only place around.
419-335-8600.
There you
Toledo
go.
Podcast.
Jim
Wassiana,
Garavage.
Ohio.
First thing I do, I usually ride it. I don't do anything with it really, and I like to know how it works. I like to know how the suspension works stock. So then when I get it done, I usually get it done like 5 hours afterwards or something.
Yeah.
And just so I know where like a base starting, and
You
all
doing that yourself?
Nope.
Suspension?
Mitch Gerwin. At
Okay.
Turbo Speed.
Rider.
Oh, rider.
Right. They
Yeah, we got to get
He's got a new
Yes.
shop. Yep.
New shop, and I can't get turned around here to show them the back of the t-shirt, but
Nice little.
got a
Yeah.
new t-shirt. Yeah,
Nice.
he gave me the other day.
You always Marty's like the
Stylish. He's
the,
stylish.
the
You
t-shirt
got,
connoisseur.
t-shirt guys. My
He
wife
is.
won't buy me any clothes, so I got to have free t-shirts.
He was hitting up. We had Nick Farringer.
Yeah, hopefully
on the
hopefully I get a
podcast.
hat out of
He
that
was
deal.
trying to,
T-shirt.
Sherco, Kenda, whatever.
Yeah,
He's
where I'm not.
you don't
proud.
discriminate with
Nope,
your t-shirts.
Absolutely no.
No. If you get a shirt, it doesn't matter.
So you go to Mitch.
Yep. Get my suspension done from Mitch.
How long has he been doing your suspension?
We started working together this year, and yeah, he's a good guy. Does great suspension. So
Yeah, and he's been doing my suspension for the last. We were just talking about the other day. He just got in the new shop, and I think 10 years.
yeah,
I think, and I'm an off-road guy, so. But I mean, not that he hasn't done the kids' motocross bikes and stuff, but
no, he can do it all.
he's
so.
done. Yeah, he's doing that, doing a little side-by-side stuff too. He said 4-wheelers, so he's a suspension guy around here.
Yep.
They're pretty swamped over there, so definitely.
It's good.
That's
definitely do
awesome.
that. So you get the suspension. How much work do you put into? And I talked to Mitch about this thing because, everybody, even on stock suspension, I've seen you ride a stock bike, and I'm not quite sure that you're any slower on a stock suspension bike than you are on your
After
fully
5
suspended.
after 5 minutes, I would be.
Yeah,
It beats
But
me up.
But I mean, I've seen you go out there and and play around with it. How much work and time do you put in once the suspension is done? Does it take you to get it tweaked to where you feel comfortable? I mean, everybody can. Mitch can get you there, but it's that last 1 inch that you've got to.
I'm pretty easy, and I probably should do more work with it. But I just get it to where it feels decent, and then I'm pretty happy with it.
Does your dad help you with that, or you do most of that yourself?
I ask him like, hey, it's doing this. What should I do? Which way should I go with the clickers? And I feel like I know what I'm doing usually, but I always ask him just to reassure.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
Do those bikes have the air forks?
they don't anymore.
We went back
They
to
went back to, like,
traditional.
conventional
Yeah.
spring forks.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that was the hot buzz for a while, wasn't it?
yeah, I mean,
Did you like them? Did you have them?
I didn't. Yeah, I liked them. I didn't mind them. It was cool because if I wanted it a little stiffer, I just pump a little more air into it. If I want it softer, just let a little air out.
Yeah.
A lot of more tweaking to those. I know
There was a lot more because you had it was a pain because if you didn't ride it Well, every day you had to check it because at night it'd lose a few pounds with the cold and stuff.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then in between motos, it'd heat up and
Yep.
you had to check it because it'd get hot and just. But they were a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
When they work really great. I mean, that's we used them off road, and that was the only thing that we noticed is depending on the day, weather, temperature, that kind of stuff, you had to be right on it.
Yep.
Carry the pump in your back,
Right.
in the backpack. But so you're doing a suspension. Of course, I'm assuming you're putting exhaust on it.
That's about it. All I do to a 450.
Yeah.
It's just suspension, exhaust, and then I usually get a Henson clutch, and
You don't run a recluse or nothing like that?
I have ran not an automatic
Slipper?
recluse. I've
Run
ran
a slipper clutch.
nope. I've never ran one of those. I've always just ran like their regular traditional clutches.
Yeah.
But either recluse or Henson, can't go wrong with either one of those. And yeah, I mean,
You just like the pull better, a little bit better.
it's just I get the hard anodized outer baskets and the pressure plates and inner plates. They just hold up longer.
Yeah.
Because I think Honda have some problems for a while with their clutches there.
I think once you get to my speed,
Yeah.
any bike's gonna have problems.
Right. Right.
I think KTM's are pretty solid,
Yeah.
and but they're good. Like all those bikes are good.
Right.
I just get it for they last longer than longer motos and stuff.
Yeah. So it's just a preventative
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
so. Tire wise, like you were talking about, the nationals are getting to be a little bit more sandy, so that they don't have cancellation days. I mean, I'm sure that's what a lot of the thought process in the big races is, that they can get a track loosened up to take some good drainage to be able to make sure if you do have a rain the night before, they're still going to be out there riding and not be total washouts. So do you have multiple sets of tires, or you basically look at the weather and say, I'm going to run this set and take those sets with you?
As far as front wheels go, I have two sets of rims, but the front tires are I just run a regular sand Dunlop tire on that, and then there's really only two tires to run outdoors, and that's a paddle tire and then the Dunlop intermediate tire.
So
it's the Dunlop sand tire actually.
So you're running that hybrid paddle?
Yeah,
knobby.
looks like a small paddle for like a sand dunes.
I haven't seen it yet. Huh.
They're pretty. They just got little scoops on there.
Oh, do they?
And
okay.
It's either that tire or a soft terrain tire. Even on the hard pack stuff, I'm gonna run that soft tire.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Does Honda like keep their bearings the same and all that from year to year, so you can take an old rim from an 18, put it on your 20?
They've been the same since I think 13.
Oh, really?
They changed them.
Okay.
And I think it's 13 on up is all the same.
That was kind of nice when we ran Yamahas. It was like
They've all
basically,
been the
when I
same.
got a new YZ250, because that's what I ran, I could just take parts off and flop around and get rid of it, and
Saves you some money.
oh my gosh, yeah, you don't have to completely start over,
Right.
if you can save $1.
So are you? So you're doing your exhaust. You've got your tire set up. You've got clutch. You said. Are you doing anything at all to try to minimize weight at all? Are you?
No,
is it
I
getting to that point where they're so? I know KTM went. For a while they were on such a kick to just keep ounces. I mean, an ounce they thought that was the greatest thing in the world when they lost an ounce of weight. So,
I know the pros still talk about it for the 250s, but the 450s, if anybody's trying to lose weight on their bikes, just lose some weight at the gym. I guess, like if you're worried about it that much.
Yeah.
I mean, those 450s are so powerful. You don't need
Yeah.
to lose. Yeah. I'm not using all the power to it. Nobody is.
You think I'm sure the factory guys are doing some, really, high end things on the motors, but I mean, kind of like to your point, do you think they're going, do you hear any of that kind of scuttle, like, okay, we're going to crank another 5 horsepower out of this thing? Or
not on the 450s. I think the 450s are pretty close to, a regular stock 450.
Right.
As far as horsepower goes, but it's more usable power.
Right. It's just a delivery, right?
Yeah, just
how
delivery.
you personally want it.
Yep.
because they just say at some point in time, that bike can only going to be able to use X amount of horsepower.
Right. And
You could have 100 horsepower.
the
on that
tracks
thing.
get so rough and the turns are so quick, you only
Yeah.
have so many feet before the next turn.
Right.
you
Right.
know, and they got ruts, so you're not going the same speed you're going down the straightaway as you are through the ruts.
Right.
So you're not doing anything on the electronic side of life to do any mapping to particular the way you like to ride or anything like that?
No, the Hondas come with like 3 different maps and 3 different. You can do like 12 different modes on the Honda, and I've switched with them for hard pack and sand. It does make a difference and it helps a little bit, but I just leave them stock.
So I guess where I was going, so with all these questions I was asking you, is basically then anybody that wants to race basically can come in, grab a bike up, and do a minimal number of things and be able to qualify for nationals if they're fast enough.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so I
think
mean,
Jeff Walker actually qualified on a bone stock KTM a few years ago at Redbud. So I mean,
I know Greg, he qualified at the Ironman on Andrews 250, which is a stock bike. You know, other than a little suspension work, never, anything was done. So, but, also I think it was the same thing. We were talking about that. The 250 in that year was when they started pushing horsepower. The 250 had as much horsepower as the 450s like a year or two before. Right. So now the 250s have got horsepower that's just unbelievable too. Yeah. So, but that's, I guess that brings you to the quality in the development of the bikes today that, of course, KTM is ready to race. I mean, that's their motto, Yeah. So they're taking bikes right out of the stock, right out of the showroom and going racing. But you're running a Honda, you're doing the same thing. You're doing your little fine tweaks, but realistically, there's not a lot to what you're putting in extra.
I do a whole shot device too. That's the number one thing I do before I go race. But that's just for the starting.
Yeah. Where you compress the forks and
compress the forks, hold your front wheel down a little bit, But I mean, you get a Honda and KTM, they're pretty much identical as far as ready to go race.
Right. I don't think you can buy a bad bike anymore. I mean, can you? Yeah, I mean, really, you can.
I'm not gonna say
Suzuki,
Hidaka. The
Hodakas.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Sounds like anything back out because you never can tell. Somebody out there that makes dirt bikes may want to send me a T-shirt.
Yeah,
so
Hodaka.
I don't want to. I don't want to do. So yeah, the Hodakas were a little rough in the motocross track side. A lot. The old Wombat.
Where were they made? Was that Spain? That wasn't Spain.
I don't know.
Czechoslovakia. It sounds like a European sandwich you're about to eat or something.
Hodaka.
Like pass me the ketchup with my Hodaka. Like. Doesn't sound like a bike,
It was a great bike.
Was it?
I had miles and miles on that bike.
Wish
I had it today. There's a guy that shows up at the track every once in a while with one.
Really?
Yeah, he comes in with it. And I want to say it was a 175 that he's got. Maybe 125, but yeah.
Probably was.
Chrome tank, and all that stuff. It looked really nice.
Some of the old stuff looks really sweet, but I mean...
No, not compared to the new ones.
Oh yeah, I mean it looks sweet, but it's like you don't want to ride any of it.
I take a new one every day.
Oh yeah, all day. No comparison.
He's both of you are way too young. To remember going out and try to adjust the rear shocks by twisting it. And it would step up or step down in the rear spring shock and do those shocks and then. All that kind of stuff. We were laughing. I told Mitch that I'd love to go to work for him because I know suspension.
Right.
So back in the day, to get that spring a little bit stiffer, you go cut yourself a little piece of PVC, and you put that in the front forks, and you stiffen that baby up, and man, it was just like that don't even work.
Yeah.
Then you go across the desert at about 18 miles an hour and think you're doing 300.
Right.
And then beat the living daylights.
And everything's shaking.
Boy, was it fun.
Everything's shaking off. Your handlebars are rattling.
Yeah, but I stop and I ride the same trails in Arizona now with new bikes that I did with the old, Hondas and the old Husqvarnas and stuff. And I'm probably not any faster with the new bikes, but
you're also older too.
I'm a lot older.
Wiser, much wiser, Marty.
Yeah. But, it's just amazing that when you look at the bikes where they come through now, I mean, we did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of cross country with that stuff. And now, you roll through things. And, I remember the first time Mitch, did a off-road suspension for me. And he's like, oh, man, I can do motocross. I know motocross. And I said, well, just here's what we're going to do. Here's the rocks. Here's kind of the rocks we're looking at. Here's what we need to do. And he sent me out west. Did a suspension up. I rode it around here a little bit, but no big deal, and went to Arizona out there and rolled through a couple sections. There was one section we'd ride it, but the rocks are about the size of a small basketball, football
Yeah.
type thing. And, usually I'm out there and it's a stretch of about 20, 25 feet and, 10 feet wide. So you're doing one of these deals and I've got my feet out, and it's like, man, I just don't want to go down in there. And so we get out there and I'm chasing one of my friends out there and the boys. And, next thing you know, I get to the other side and I'll go, wow, I just went through that rocks.
Right.
So we made it. I made the guys all go to the top of the hill and get, call Mitch and Mitch. Tell Mitch this suspension's terrible. I couldn't feel nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just amazing though.
Yep.
Like you said, once you either set up your stock suspension to where it fits you or have it done, that man, it's like wow,
It's amazing.
Makes the whole experience that much better.
it
Yeah.
is. It's a
Yeah.
lot more
For
fun to ride.
any track or trails
Yes.
or whatever you
Yep.
do.
So a lot of
Well,
fun.
that's the most important piece on the bike. I
Yep,
mean, it's just
it is.
absolutely because especially now, like you said, that the bikes have gotten so good with the power delivery. They don't need more power,
No.
right? It's like
And the suspension, they come good.
right.
It does come good. But if you can make it that much better, why not?
I've got that. Just bought a KTM 300 Erzberg and that Explorer fork.
Yep.
Now I'm using all of it because of some little weight gain. It's not the camera,
Height-
okay?
height
It's not the
issues.
camera,
It's
yeah.
just height issues.
But COVID. So I blame
Yeah,
everything COVID.
Yes.
And but I'm getting that redone here soon. But yeah, I mean it's just amazing. Just feels like it just floats.
Yeah.
Just like it's like tree roots, sharp edges, square edges.
Yep.
Just right over top. So it's awesome. But
It's amazing what the kids' bikes are now too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at my grandson. He's riding a Husqvarna and little 50, and that baby is a race bike that
Yeah,
they just throw
they're
in the
decked
dryer
out.
and it shrunk.
Yep.
And it's like you watch them go through in the suspension, and we haven't done anything with the suspension, but you could,
Right.
know,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
right.
just amazing. So speaking of kids and grandkids and stuff, so married,
Mhm.
2 kids, girls. Any plans on PW50 for them?
My dad still has one, so we'll bust that out for him. But we actually bought the Stasic bikes,
Yes.
and they love that.
Love that.
They
Perfect.
I have to persuade them to get on it. But once they get on it, they love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like every day is a new day for them. But I don't know. They'll definitely know how to ride a dirt bike, but I don't know if they'll race.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, you hear a lot of guys like yourself that they're kind of I just just go have fun.
Yeah.
Are you pushing hard or
I don't really want them to race necessarily. It's a dangerous sport, Not that it's saying don't do it
right?
because it's an awesome sport, but I don't know.
Yeah,
They're my girls,
Yeah.
It's different, I guess.
it is different,
But I think if I had boys, I think I'd be like, let's do it.
right?
I think
Right.
it'd definitely be different. But
And of course, I can say this because I'm not a racer, but I enjoy the trails, and the vacations we've taken, being able to ride that we're not racing, and you do see a lot of women, girls and women that ride. I can't, when we're out in the desert, it's amazing how many, husband and wives and or their kids are just going out and enjoying it, as a family,
Right.
riding. And so hopefully if you don't want them to race, hopefully you still, have that fun to go out and enjoy it. I can't think of anything else that I enjoy more than just riding.
Yeah,
I just love to ride, whether I'm doing 5 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour, I just enjoy the ride and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And when I you get to ride with your kids or, my boys or my grandchildren, it's just such a fun deal. And, I like to see them doing that versus one of
The games,
or,
yeah.
that,
Yep.
and which is, good. I mean, these kids got to learn
I make
skills too.
them go outside with me all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
My granddaughter, she's over here. She's helping me clean bikes,
Yep.
or she's helping me mop. She mopped the floor today and swept. And
She
stuff.
did a
So-
good job.
So
Yeah,
we're,
looks
you know,
good.
but,
She missed a spot over there, but
yeah, I
that's-
know.
she's-
You got to,
we'll go easy. on her.
attention span is
Yeah,
sort of slow.
we'll go easy on her.
But it's just so fun. And it's like you think about the number of different things other than maybe hiking and stuff. But as a sport, motorcycles and the power sports industry is such a great family. Like I said, your dad has been with you for how old are you now?
30.
Oh, So you haven't even
I
grown
feel
up.
old.
You haven't grown up yet.
So I look at you.
I know. Yeah, look at me.
That'll make the highlight reel.
Yeah. So, but like I said, you get to enjoy it with the family. And I say my kid's first real official race was to go to view was Loretta Lynn's.
Yeah.
So in 1992, when we moved from Arizona back here, our first we got back in 91, back in Pennsylvania. And 92, we said, okay, we're going to go on a vacation. We packed the station wagon, the old Wally mobile,
Griswold,
and put the trailer on, and we went to Loretta Lynn's with the kids, all 4 kids, put the tent up, and watched the whole week of racing.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
They, that was, for them, that was sort of what hooked them, onto the girls. Not so much. The girls do ride, but Lori's rode forever. Does your wife ride?
She doesn't.
She doesn't. Why not?
I guess because I've never taught her.
Oh. But we've got some bikes around here. I got some bikes around here. We can put her.
I got one at home too, and she says I'm a mom now. I'm like, so what?
Oh,
so we'll fix that.
Yeah. So, but like you say, that was one of the highlights. Like I said, the many years we've got pictures. I've got pictures of Andrew sitting in the front of me with his helmet on. And sleeping as I was going through the desert with the bikes and stuff. But it's one of the it's a great sport in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Well, what other sport? I mean, you said you wrestled, right? And I did a little football, and but what other sport can you do post high school that the whole family can go do? Nothing. I can't think of one. Because all your you can go play sand volleyball or something for a bar,
Maybe,
maybe a softball league or something. But
that's still like just the guy, and then the family goes to watch.
Yes.
You can't do it together.
Can't do it together.
It's like golfing.
Yeah.
The last thing they want to do is take the wife and the 4 kids out there riding around in your cart, and running around back and forth,
playing in the pond.
Playing in the pond.
Yep.
I send them in for the golf balls because that's usually where mine go. But yeah, so it is, so I guess I get off my soapbox of the best sport out there to enjoy, whether it's motocross.
You're clearly biased, but you're right.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but there's no debate here. It is the greatest sport.
It is the best.
It is the greatest sport on earth, and hopefully we can continue. I got one final question for you, Broc. What do you think about this? The electric bikes, we all know it's coming, right?
Yeah, there's one over here actually.
Yeah,
and I rode it. I rode them. They're cool.
He's not hooked,
but there's nothing like the sound of a dirt bike.
Yeah,
there's nothing like the sound of a car.
Right.
A dragster or nothing. I mean, that's why people go there. As spectators,
right?
They want to hear that. They don't
the ambiance, the power.
There's nothing better than hearing 2-stroke. Not
anymore.
I don't know. I still, the 4-strokes are okay, but man, that 2-stroke.
The 4-strokes are awesome now.
Yeah, they are. But
I always loved as a kid, and watching Carmichael and Stewart and Reed and all them guys just blitzing the whoops on 252 strokes. That's just like
that does sound good. 2 strokes on whoops and indoors.
Yeah. There's just nothing better than that.
Well, you raced in our 2-stroke shootout,
yep.
And man, you got there. We had 179 2-strokes racing that one day out of the blue.
It is cool, like when people do special events like that.
Yeah,
because
it is.
Nobody has. You don't see very many 2-strokes anymore.
Yeah.
And it is cool when you go to a track and it's all 2-strokes. It's like, man, that's brings back memories for the older people.
Yeah,
it does.
I remember one kid saying, it was a beautiful, just an absolute beautiful CR500. I mean, this is showroom. I mean, I'm looking at this bike. I'm like, man, where is this? He goes, oh, my grandpa had it in his garage. And he let me race it. And I'm like, boy, you got a nice grandpa. Because, man, I wouldn't let you be racing that thing. I mean, it was just pristine.
Yeah.
And,
he's going to go rip it up.
He went out and raced it and did really well. But the bike just, it was amazing.
If you know who he is, he wants to sell it.
Yeah, I know. I've had, we actually ran some 500s back in the day in the desert, detune them a little bit. Man, they were mountain goats.
I never rode one. Never rode a 500.
And off-road wise, they were mountain goats.
Yeah.
We'd pipe them up and run them, and they had all the torque, just typical thinking, big bikes, and it would run, and it was the greatest thing compared to my 252 stroke,
I remember when I was young, riding over the state forest, there was a guy that would show up like on a, 500 Honda, and he was just like the shortest guy around.
Yeah.
Couldn't touch the ground. Had to stand, left leg up on the guardrail.
Right.
Trying to kick this
Well,
monster.
I mean, they're hard to kick over anyway.
Yeah.
Break a leg.
I've
matter
never
how
done
tall
it.
you are.
I've never done it, but this poor guy was just kicking and kicking and kicking, thinking, dude, by the time you get it started, you're gonna pack it up
Right.
because you're exhausted. You're exhausted from kicking this thing.
Nowadays, you don't even have to kick a bike. They're just all electric.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
It's easy.
That's amazing technology too.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that every bike is
That's
electric
the only thing
start.
I want electric on my bike.
They don't have on the Hondas?
No, I don't want electric dirt bike.
Oh,
I just want
I
the
see.
electric start.
Electric start.
That's,
Yeah.
that's all I want as far as electric
But
goes.
see, I can sneak up on him when he's
Yeah.
riding. He doesn't know I'm there.
Right.
So I'm right with him all the time when he's riding there. He just doesn't know it.
Right, I can hear him.
Yeah. So, well, like I say, it's been a great evening.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, because I know that you've got a lot of people that help you out and stuff. So if
Yeah.
you want to take a minute or two and mention, how you get your bikes and where you get them and how they keep good and how they keep running great and get to the tracks and stuff. So if you want to shout out to anybody,
Any family, friends, whoever.
kids,
Whatever
First
you
of
wanna
all,
do.
Thank you to you guys for having me.
Yeah.
man, pleasure.
It's been fun. Jim Durbage, only dealer to go to, has been awesome to me over the years. Couldn't do it without him. My family, my wife, my kids.
Yep.
Richie Shehorn, Mike Turry, they've been there all through all of it. Mitch Gerwin. Heck, I'm forgetting a lot of other people.
Dad.
But I said family. Dad.
Dad, you got
Dad.
You got to
lumped them.
say dad.
You lumped them in the same category.
yeah.
That's all right.
So-
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, everybody. It's
Yeah.
been awesome. Thank you guys.
Well,
Yeah.
it takes a lot to go out there and have some fun and compete in the level that you're competing at.
Even if I didn't compete at that level, it's just being on the dirt bike is fun.
Yeah. It's better than being in the office a lot of times, for sure. No
Looking
question.
out the window. Yep.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we appreciate you coming on and joining us, and you've been a lot of fun and good insight. And I just want to say I appreciate you being a good representative of our town as well. I told that to or I should say we told that to Jeff and Walker and Greg, because you guys are our local pros, and your humility and being able to talk to anybody, and you never forget where you came from, type of thing. And that's always good to see and hear. You don't ever hear anything bad about any local guys. So that's always a good thing that you've done, and we appreciate that. So
Yeah, I always they pull into the track and he's got his girls waving and they're all waving. No matter where you see them, it's always a great opportunity to see them.
yep, and keep the family in it. That's all you can do, and keep trucking down the road. But as we wrap up, we want to thank our show sponsor, Championship Power Sports, located in Waseon, Ohio. Again, they got a special deal going for you, the podcast listeners, who we appreciate so much. But give Jim Durvage a call, 419-335-8600, and mention the promo code Toledo Podcast. That's promo code Toledo Podcast. You can also check them out at championshippowersports.com and see all the major brands that they carry, especially that new gas. Marty, want to go ahead, Marty?
I'm going to mention that twice tomorrow to see how that works for helping get a new.
Yeah,
gas.
well, that's three shout outs during this
Yeah.
episode. So
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I'll just keep walking around and all through the shop, Toledo.
we need it on a shirt.
Ooh,
We'll think about that.
Richie.
Yeah,
Richie can
let's
use
get it
it.
on a shirt. Toledo Podcast hashtag, right?
There you go.
But Marty and I want to sincerely thank you for tuning into season 2, episode 6, and once again thank our guest Broc Peterson for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, or guests that you want to hear from, we want to hear from you. So please send us an email to ToledoTrackandTrail@gmail.com. Until next time, we hope you and your family can get outside and enjoy the sport of motocross and off-road racing and riding. Stay on the track or trail wherever you are, and be good stewards of the sport that you love so much. On behalf of my co-host Marty Wheeler, I'm Matt Bucher. We thank you again for tuning into the Toledo Track and Trail Podcast. Stay safe, everyone.